Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Means Recording, and welcome to a Patreon Q&A video where patrons ask questions and I answer them. Today, we're playing some piano while we do this because I have a really bad haircut, and I just thought this might be a fun way to make things different. Let me turn this down a little bit, jeez, so loud. So that's what's going on today, but before we get started with that, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about what's going on with the channel. It's been quite a year, and I've been meaning to sort of do a little recap video on what it's been like doing this full time. So I'm going to take the opportunity here in the beginning of this video to talk about that. About a year ago, I was fired from my job, and I jumped into doing YouTube and teaching and synth demos and all the stuff that you see on this channel full time, and stuff that you don't see unless you're taking lessons from me. The lessons come through Patreon and also a la carte stuff, and they are my bread and butter right now. They are what I primarily make money off of, which is pretty cool. Patreon is the rest of it. I would not be able to do what you see on this channel without Patreon. So from the bottom of my gross, stinky heart, I want to thank you all so much for helping me make this dream a reality, for helping me be a full-time, for lack of a better term, artist. With that has come some interesting challenges and responsibilities. The main responsibility that I feel is to provide content on the channel that makes me happy, but also seems to serve a function to people that are watching. And that means educational content, whether or not that's going over some form of music theory idea, technical idea, something that I've learned with modular or a technique. Any kind of content that can provide someone who's decided to sit down and watch one of my videos some form of like usefulness, feeling like they got something out of it. I love performance. I love making music and showing it off, and I'm still doing that, but I really feel that the function of YouTube, unless you're just strictly an entertainer, is to provide value via education and helping lift up other people if you have something that you feel is interesting to share. That's kind of where I'm at with that. So what's going to happen with the channel? It's not going to change, really. Obviously, you haven't seen an OP1 video this whole year, and you probably won't. I am toying with the idea of bringing them back next year. But honestly, my interests have changed so much in the past 2 years, and especially over this last year. Obviously, I've gotten a lot into modular, but I've gotten deeper into pretty much everything that I have always liked. And the OP1 stuff, while fun, and I know it's very entertaining, isn't where my brain is at. So unfortunately, for those of you that are here with me, hoping for more of that, you probably won't see it. But I hope you stick around anyways, because I do enjoy your company. What I hope to have are some more full performances. There's going to be a new soft music to do nothing to, which is the Digitact Digitone album that I made, God, was it maybe 2 years ago? I'm not 100% sure. This one is going to be a lot cooler. I went back and I listened to the previous one, which is a favorite amongst listeners of my stuff. And the intention of that album was to create something that you could listen to and not be bowled over with. You know, like it could just sit in the background and it could facilitate your brain having something going on, but it really wasn't going to, you know, challenge you. It's not going to challenge you emotionally. It's sort of like sonic wallpaper, but it's supposed to be stuff that stimulates your brain. I really like music that does that. This is weird to say, but I truly do believe that one of the good tests of music is whether or not people will put it on when they're high. I'm always thinking about the music that saved my ass when I used to do a lot of psychedelics in an alternate reality. The alternate reality me used to do a lot of psychedelics. I needed music in those situations that had a very specific feeling to it. Oh no. So I've always got that in mind when I'm making stuff. And this new soft music to do nothing to is going to be a lot more intricate and energetic in some cases. And I hope that it scratches the same itch as the previous one. I have some modular demos coming up. So for some modules that are as yet unreleased, though they are announced. So that will be cool. If I find modules that I like, whether or not they are new, I will show them off to you because that's one of my favorite things to do. I have a whole bunch of videos already filmed, kind of throwing some stuff at the wall to see what sticks. There will be some more So You Want to Make a Sound design challenges. I have a whole bunch of those filmed, and I also have some that I have not yet filmed where patrons ask like, hey, this sound in here, how do you make it? And those have been really, really fun. And what else? More digitone from scratch, some videos with Ableton and Push, just a whole bunch of stuff. Just really trying to throw all the spaghetti at the wall and see what happens. So, that said, thank you again for being part of this. It's cool. If you ever have suggestions for stuff that you might want to see, or something that I've like maybe mentioned in a video that you want explored more, reach out, let me know. I'm gonna be reached on Twitter. If you're part of the Patreon, you get access to the Discord, which is one of the finest groups of people I have ever met in my entire life. So, with that said, let's answer some patron questions. The first question is from H2G2 Guy. They ask, I noticed your "This is really happening" tattoo in a recent video. Seemed like a reminder a lot of us could use now and again. If it's not too personal, is there any particular meaning or background to that tattoo that you'd be interested to share? Sure. I'm a big Radiohead fan, and I was turning 29, I believe. And I had lived in the Bay Area with my partner for probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years, a long time. And I hated it. I hated myself. I hated everyone there. I hated everything. And he got an opportunity to move to Baltimore to teach. And Baltimore was a place he had lived before when he went to Hopkins, and I had not. But I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I hate San Francisco. I'm moving to Baltimore with you. Left a lot behind. It was a really, really insane idea. It just felt like one of those like just big moments. And around the same time, I was like, you know what? I have been living sort of without thinking. I've been living without thinking about what I want and what is happening around me. You know, I was a very anxious person, so I spent a lot of time over analyzing, and I think to my detriment via that, I didn't actually see what was going on. I sort of built my own narrative around it. So the tattoo was sort of a double-edged thing. It was about this big thing that was happening, this real reality that was sort of rocking me and my whole worldview to the core, my whole world that I had experienced. And just a reminder to be present, that a lot of the times you will exist in a space and a situation, and you won't realize that you're coloring it with your own perception or your own story. And it's happening regardless of your perception of it. So basically, it is really happening. Like it's always really happening. Its poignancy has definitely diminished for me. over the time because I don't believe in a objective reality anymore. I used to be obsessed with the concept, but I don't believe that anymore. So it's something I've actually considered getting covered up, but it's one of my first tattoos, and it definitely reminds me of a time that I was more young and naive, even though I thought I had it all figured out, and that's why it's still there. Peter Chang asks, who influenced your sense of humor? I'm trying to think of like comedians and comedies that I've watched. Tim and Eric. I really like surrealist sort of like Dada stuff that also like somehow manages to be real at the same time. A really good torchbearer of that these days is Brian David Gilbert with his stuff he's been doing for his solo channel since he left Polygon, where it starts off with one message and you think it's going to be one thing, and then dives into a sort of existential insanity. You know, pepcorn. Yeah, pretty much anyone who is pushing the boundaries into surreal comedy as opposed to edgy comedy. Like for me, Eric Andre is like right on the border of that. He can be a little too much for me. But I really, really like the boundary pushing kind of stuff. I really like Vic Berger, who, you know, has a relationship with at least Tim Heidecker. And he makes these edits of a lot of the times political stuff. So, you know, you want to keep politics out of your comedy. He's not the right person for you. But the way that he edits stuff, I guess, is very Tim and Eric-y. It just draws attention to the absolute insanity that reality is all the time. And I really like that. Arrested Development, all the characters in there, that sort of incredibly dry, just like clueless form of humor where everybody is broken and pretty much irredeemable, but they don't believe that they are. Everybody is like, you know, the star in their own motion picture or their own television show. And they're the old main characters, and none of them can possibly connect with each other. And they always think that they are. So I don't know, just like comedy that stretches the concept of comedy and tragedy to its limit is my favorite kinds of sense of humor. My favorite kind of humor. My favorite kind of senses of humor. Yeah. Hey, let's turn on some particles. Adam Freisinger asks, as a generalist, I get high on trying out and getting to know as many different things as I possibly can, but frequently feel discouraged by the perceived lack of mastery compared to specialists in any given domain. I usually ponder if committing to just one area and focusing on that would be the holy grail of strategies, and then I instantly freak out by the vision of doing just that one thing for the rest of my life. You seem like somebody who has several fields of interest and at the same time can achieve a high level of mastery in many of those. How do you feel when you commit yourself to anything you do for a long period of time? Do you feel anxiety about all the other things that you say no to with this commitment? Yeah, man, that's for real. I understand that. Let me turn down these particles. So it's a little weird for me because I spent a lot of time being extremely hyper-focused on one idea or one concept. Basically, like the music thing, you know, like having to do it, having to get better at it. So there were so many things to learn that I felt like I could always jump around and try new stuff in there. There's still so much to learn, you know. There's arranging, there's music theory, there's performance, there's the modular stuff offers a whole new thing. It's just a constantly great, thanks microphone. It's a constantly evolving thing, and as you learn more, you realize that there's more for you to learn. So I never feel bored in that respect. And I guess when you look at me doing stuff on my channel, you're seeing really the expression of me having dived into that field as much as I possibly can. The video stuff is tangential to that, you know, like they do share a fair amount of similarity to each other. They both involve capturing things in a certain way, whether or not that's a video signal and the lighting and the angles, and also the instrument or the performance. These have a relationship with each other. The technical I/O, all that kind of stuff, all has a relationship. So it's not really so much of a huge difference, between music and video. So don't think that that's like two things that are completely opposite of each other. And my interest in video sprang from what it could do to this. So either, the Venn diagram there is very, very similar. So I think what you may want to do is, if you're talking about like, oh, I love to cook and I love to weave baskets, and every single time I cook, I feel like I should be weaving baskets, and I get scared that I have to cook all the time. Don't be silly. Do recognize that there are going to be things that you might like to do that are going to be like very different from each other, and that you will need to carve things out, carve individual times out for those. But that's just life, dude. We have to make these context switches all the time in our regular life between work and home and play and chore and sometimes we even have to sleep, which sucks. So what you might want to do, it sounds like you're a pretty organized person, I guess. I'm just sort of assuming that based on the way that you phrased this question, you're sort of a, for lack of a better term, type A personality. You may want to approach these interests that you have in a more organized fashion. You may want to think about them as sort of units. Like what are their shared values? What will you get from spending time learning one that maybe relates to another? Can you bring them together? And also realize that there is a world in every single thing that you may want to learn. Like, there's no way that, you could be like, oh, I want to learn music. And then you're like, oh no, I've learned too much. Like, that's ridiculous. So you will never get good at something unless you practice the hell out of it. And for a lot of people, that's okay. They just want to play. They want to explore. God knows I've seen that with music and modular a lot. A lot of people don't want to be the masters of things. They just want to play, and that's fine. But you have to be honest with yourself and realize what you have time for and what you have bandwidth for. And if you're not willing to make the commitment, then you just have to realize that that's how you are and stop beating yourself up about it. You only have two choices. It's on one side, try out all the things and don't feel bad about it, or commit and focus and don't feel bad about it. That's it. Pick one. Hadrian Duray, is it Duray or Durit, asks, Hi, do you like your voice? Everybody hates hearing its own voice, but I guess editing a lot of talking videos makes you use it. But are you used to it in an enjoyable way? I just woke up. This is the first thing that came to my mind. Sorry for my terrible English, by the way. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, Hadrian Duray. No, I like my voice. I have grown to like my voice. I watch my own YouTube videos once they're done. I listen to them. I sort of make sure that I haven't talked over my own self, that I've made my points. I don't care about my voice anymore. And I've also worked really, really hard to try and make my voice sound like something that I like. So I've grown really comfortable with it. And that's in great part because of this insane amount of practice I get doing these kinds of videos, anything where I talk. And do I get tired of my voice? Yeah, absolutely. That's why this video is so late, because I feel like I just did a big talking video with the Octatrack thing, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of hearing myself talk. So, I was supposed to shoot this on Sunday, but it's Wednesday now. So it's like any other thing. You can make changes to the way that you speak. You can make changes to the speed, the tone. Obviously I'm doing a lot of ums and ahs. I sort of pause and then talk really fast. I realize that. So I'm not really stoked on that about how I talk. But in order to speak naturally, you can't be constantly thinking about how you talk. You ever had that? I don't know if you've ever recorded vocals where like the monitor signal is like a few milliseconds off, or maybe it's like 10 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds off from like when you're speaking, and it's impossible. Like you hear it and it delays and it just screws you the hell up. That's kind of what it feels like to like be extremely cognizant of how you're talking. You stop being able to speak. So there's a balance between the natural flow of language and being cognizant of how you talk, and you have to sort of like practice through talking how to get better at it. I do a lot of pauses and edits when I make these videos, so you get the best of the best, so to speak. And there's a lot of umming and ahhing and pausing on the cutting room floor. Singing was more of a challenge, and I think it's the same story. It's the practice and confidence that comes with it, and realizing the limitations of what you have as an instrument, and really working with that. I don't have any formal vocal training, so it's about listening to myself, where I mess up, what my range is, stuff like that, and really doing my best to complement that with key and phrasing and stuff like that. Next question, all related to the same central theme, but do you still have the first song track beat you tried to make in a DAW? Would you be willing to share that along with your most recent to show how far you've grown and possibly debunk some common misconceptions about doing music? If you do share, can we get more producers to do this? Dodzy, no, I don't have that. That was a lifetime ago. That was like over 25 years ago on probably an old Power PC or something in a school lab. No, I don't have that. In fact, I'm pretty disappointed that I don't have my original like tracker music that I used to make on tape somewhere. Maybe it's hiding in one of my parents' basements or something like that. But I don't have any of that stuff. Sorry to disappoint you. I'm sure it would sound like S. I do have some old stuff. I will try to post it to Patreon. But I don't have the first stuff, unfortunately. Fluffy asks, what video games are you playing right now, and how inspiring is the music? That's a really good question, and I have a good answer. I am playing The Witcher 3 right now, and the music is generally really, really good. I'm on one of the DLCs, the Toussaint one, and I do really, really like the way they have different sort of ambient themes that sort of like come in under day-to-day stuff. It's very good atmospheric music stuff. The fight themes I am not a big fan of, but I really do like the music in it in general. I think it's well done. Monitor Von Synthesizer asks, do you think that diversity meant a number of choices, ways you can possibly go, tools you can use, is beneficial or detrimental to your overall product, no matter what it is? Songs, videos, books, even life. It's a philosophical type of question, and it stems from following. One often hears nowadays that limitations breed creativity, and being spoiled for choices makes you lose your focus. But in my opinion, isn't it more person-dependent than anything? What is your take on this? Yeah, it is. It is person-dependent on anything. I can look at somebody's studio on like a synthesizer subreddit, and they have like 6 fucking 61 key hardware synths, and I'm like, I would never use that. And they could walk into my studio and see my 3 modular rigs and be like, what is wrong with you? And I'll be like, but they're all different. I do find myself more and more often creating more focus racks, focus stations. For instance, the digitone and the digitactor right next to me right here, right there. And that's because I sold my Hydrasynth and I sold my Pro 3. I still have the Hydrasynth desktop, but my big keyboard synths, they're gone and replaced with the same stand is there, but I have a new rack brute system that's sort of a performance system that will change at some point. And then the Deluge, and underneath that, the Octatrack will eventually go. But right now, I have the Digitone and the Digitact, and just having them there, I think I pulled it out for a lesson with somebody, and I started playing around with it because it was in front of me, and soft music to do nothing to just started coming out of it. So I'm really, really happy about that. And that's why focus stations are important. Also, somebody asked earlier about this concept of being focused versus doing all the things. I cannot work with the same system all the time. Like I change things, I rotate things about the way that I make music. And that's why you'll rarely see me continuing to do the same thing the same way on my channel, because to me, with these devices that I have gotten really good at, I want to see how I can make them work together and what permutation brings me joy at that period of time. So I'm doing a lot of, like reorganizing of things and creating small focuses that I can play around with. You will find the balance that you need in that respect. I can't answer that question for you. I can't answer that question for anybody. I can make suggestions based on what a person has told me and what they think their goals are. But I cannot be like, you should do it like this, and that's the good way. There's no right answer to that. So limitation breeds creativity if your problem with creativity was that you had too many choices. If you don't understand the concept of overabundance of choice as what you consider a hindrance, then limitation won't breed creativity quite the same way. Now that said, what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. That's another phrase if you just want to throw phrases around. That means that given a need, you will find a way to achieve that goal with the most ingenious way possible, with as little as you can, with what you have available to you. And that goes for all kinds of things. I mean, we're talking about food resources. We're talking about money. We're talking about music. And certainly, when I had less than I have right now, I used it to its fullest extent. And then I got bigger, and I got more stuff, and then I got smaller, and then I got different. So find your path through that. But, listen to what you are really thinking and feeling about the path, and don't buy something or get something just because you think it's going to solve a problem. It really should solve a problem. I guess sometimes that problem might be that you're feeling uninspired, but be honest with yourself about it, DB Powlin asks, how do you restrain yourself from adding too many parts into a song? I often feel like adding more percussion, more stabs, more bass lines, more everything into the song becomes an unrecognizable mess from what I originally intended. Well, DB, how many bass lines are you trying to stack on top of each other? Because, they don't really go well together. Percussion, yeah, I like percussion. I'll add lots of percussion. Stabs, I mean, again, you don't want to layer too many stabs on top of each other. So what I usually do is I'll start building something until I feel like it is ticking all the right boxes, ticking the boxes I need to feel as if the composition is listenable. Meaning there has to be a certain tipping point in the weight of the piece, weight of the composition, the arrangement of that sort of loop. The digitone and digitech stuff is a great example of that, because I started on the digitone, which has 4 tracks. And I knew that I only had 4 tracks to work on, which limitations, creativity. And I knew that I wanted to fill up the sound in some way. So, I'm thinking low, I'm thinking high, I'm thinking something maybe plucky, I'm thinking something maybe sustained, so that there's a feeling of fullness, but also in relation to the sort of genre or mood that I'm going for. So I'm trying to reach that point of saturation where I'm like, yes, I could hit play on this and listen to it, and it would feel like it's like a section from a song, a section from a track. And then in Ableton, if I've reached that point, I do ask myself, is there an opportunity for something else? Like, is there like a part in here that if I switched it out would push the energy even further up? And if there is, I will try it and keep it for later. I'll save it. And then I'm going to make more sections, and I'm going to sort of strip those sections back and make more stuff with the same thing in mind on those sections, keeping in mind the sort of a need for a flow of energy. So if in your composition, in your arrangement, if you're continuing just adding stuff, you're not really being cognizant of the need of a track to have dynamics, to have contrast in order to succeed as a piece of music, at least for the most part. Contrast is what makes a piece of music work for us, and makes it listenable and makes it something that sticks in our head, and that the journey of it is what we are in this for. So I will say that near the end of the process of getting a track ready to go, meaning, sort of moving from the arrangement phase to the mixing phase, I'm in subtraction phase, and I'm going and I'm getting rid of as much stuff as I possibly can in there. I'm stripping it back. So I think the, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks mentality when you're really trying to get ideas down is perfectly fine and safe. But you should also maybe consider putting a trimming into there and not hoarding all of these ideas, and realizing that when you take away the stuff that's left, can be brought up, and you can get a more confident, confident and in some cases aggressive expression of what you were trying to do with the music. Not Dr. Joel. I'm suspicious. I believe you are Dr. Joel. Asks, do you enjoy collaboration in making music? I know you've been part of those cool 5 producers, 1 whatever sort of videos. What about actually sitting down to write a song or album with another musician? I know I do much better work with others than alone, but you seem to prefer working on your own. I do. I don't like working with other people. I haven't had an opportunity throughout my long time doing this to collaborate, both in band situations and in studio situations. And I can count out of the, multiple times on the hands, times that I've collaborated, one hand that I've enjoyed it. So, out of 20 times, I've enjoyed it maybe 4 times. Given where I am in my life and my mental state now, it might be different, but I have a pace. I have a pace and a focus that cannot work with other people. Like it just doesn't work. So the kinds of collaborations that do work. So basically what I'm saying is that real-time collaboration does not interest me that much. Jamming is fun. So I guess there's different degrees. If you're just getting together with some people to play, that's fine. But a long-term project where I have to depend on somebody else in real time is not interesting to me. I will do a postal service type thing where I'll send some stuff back and forth with people and do a track like that. I have done that in the past. But generally I like to work alone. It's just how I am. Liam Freeveld asks, dragons or eldritch horrors? Well, are you talking about things I'm supposed to be scared of or things I'm supposed to be horny for? Because I'm horny for both. Jason Wardell asks, I love watching your videos where you multi-track some cool piece of hardware in Ableton. How do you balance interesting onboard effects of the hardware synth versus adding effects in DAW? The base station stuff, no effects in it. No effects in the Micro Freak. What else have I multi-tracked? I guess I did a video multi-tracking the Pro 3, and I did use the effects in there. So it really depends on how good the effects are in the synth. If there's really good effects and I can build a patch that has everything I need in it in terms of space and EQ and all that shit, then I'm going to do it in the synth. And that's what I'm doing with the Digitact right now, is like using some little tricks here and there to really get some cool stereo imagery and stuff like that. And all I'll do to that once it comes out is compression and EQ. Same thing with the Digitone. Other thing I do quite a bit is like saturation of some kind to synths when I'm using them, whether or not they have effects on them or not. But that's the litmus. Like that's where the rub is. If the synth has good internal effects, like the Hydra synth or the Pro 3, then or the Op 6, then I'm going to use those effects. If it doesn't, I'm going to use Ableton effects. Justin asks, what is your favorite thing to put in yogurt? Granola. I just realized your icon's a yogurt. This is a weird question. Are you yogurt? Are you at... I don't want to... Christian Adams asks, if you could rescore a movie in your own way, what movie would it be and why? Bonus question, what video game would you rescore and why? Oh, man, you guys are making me think today. I don't want to do that. If I could rescore a movie, it'd be Stalker, the movie adaptation of Roadside Picnic. If I could rescore a game, it would be Minecraft, because everybody already says that my music apparently sounds like Minecraft music, so I've already done it. Congratulations. Thank you. Kevin Jacobs asks, how do you manage your sample library? Keep everything on an external drive or download to your main PC? Second question, what is your favorite tattoo that you have? Man, I think the real travesty here is I'm really not holding up my end of the piano thing because I have run out of ideas with piano. You're going to see how bad I am at coming up with actual chords. I'll just play the same ones over and over again. Manage my sample library. Well, there's two sides to that. There is the sample library of one-hits and one-shots and loops that I download from things like Loop Masters and collect from like Freesound. And then there is the contact stuff that is, you know, big-ass multi-sampled libraries. At this point, I have a big PC, desktop PC that I have multiple drives in. And I have an SSD dedicated to my one-shot library, my loops and one-shot libraries, and I have a SSD dedicated to, I think it's either an SSD or a spinning disk, I can't remember, dedicated to like anything regarding contact or any kind of multi-sampled library. So, and I occasionally back those up on my NAS, just to make sure that I have a backup copy. If I lost all my samples today, it wouldn't be the end of the world. There are some things that I really would miss, like the old 90s sample CDs, but I know where to get those again. So I used to keep things on an external hard drive, but I absolutely do not recommend doing that. It will not be good for you when that hard drive controller eventually goes, and they always do. So do your best. I mean, if you have like a laptop, there's not much you can do. So have a backup of your hard drive, your external hard drive that has your sample library on it, and realize that, you know, there may be a bit of a slowdown when accessing stuff. I know that, you know, Lightning and stuff like that is very fast these days on computers. So, but yeah, just be careful. Put it on an external, but always have a backup, you know. What's my favorite tattoo that I have? It's my chest tattoo, but I can't show you that because, well, maybe I'll put a picture of it. It's a tattoo I commissioned from a really awesome artist on on Twitter that I really, really like. So I guess that's my favorite one. And the last one that I got, and it hurt like shit because I'm an old man. Tyler Pruitt asked, deep house music using modular, a fool's errand? Tyler, I actually saw your question, and I was inspired to record a little something, and it sounds like this. I think deep house and modular go extremely well together. Just understand what you're going to need for it. You know, good drums, so at least a 4-channel drum of some kind, 4-channel drum or sample playback device like the Rample or the VPM EQD. You're going to want probably something that can do polyphony or the semblance of polyphony. So the ensemble oscillator from 4MS, the chainsaw from Acid Rain. What else could do that? The cubic chord would be a really good choice. Really, really, really good. And you're going to want a bass line. So you can get that from a ton of different options. It just depends on how like weird you want to get with your bass lines. You know, you're going to want something with a good low end to it. So maybe a Dixie 2 with a good filter to get a really classic sort of analog bass line. That you could also get triangle or sine waves out of. And then some effects, reverb and delays and stuff like that. But honestly, you have, when you're asking yourself all of that, you should ask yourself why. Why do it in modular? You could do it so much better with the Electron system, and cheaper too. I personally don't think that I would get into modular to make deep house unless you were really planning on going laser focused with performance, and that's the way that you wanted to do it. That's just my 2 cents on the whole thing. Killian P asks, do I do sound design sessions only? I do, a lot more these days than I did before, because I have hardware samplers that like to be fed, like the Octatrack, the Digitact, all my Eurorack samplers. I'm doing a lot more sound design and recording it and bringing them over to those to play with. I find sound design sessions really freeing. I like to do them quite a bit. And it helps me learn a new piece of gear or a new sampled instrument, which is really, really nice. Last question. Matt Sperlin asks, what's on my burrito? You know, I've answered this question before, but I'll answer it again for you. I need that rice, green or red rice. I need black or refried beans. I need guacamole, sour cream cheese. I need jalapenos. I need that spicy habanero salsa if they got it. Habanero salsa. God, it's so fucking good. I need a meat. I like carne asada. I like a good pollo. I like pibil. I love fish. You know, I will eat a fish burrito any day of the week. I'll eat a fish burrito. Put it inside my mouth and I'll be yours. Don't ask, just put it inside my mouth. Fish burrito. Thank you. Take care.